Good evening, welcome to the Bird Room. For all you new people, new subscribers, we've had quite a few over the last 2 weeks. I'm Shane from Direct Bird Products, Arth Evans and Pontins team. Everyone else will know who I am. Originally the name was Direct Bird Products. We have changed it just to be more fitting into what we do. Obviously we're in the bird room, we're filming in the bird room, all about birds. This week we'll be taking a look round and the ups and downs of certain pairings and things that haven't happened and things that have happened. But before I start, I want to say a massive thank you to Kevin Bailey for your donation to the channel. Much appreciated, Kev. Thanks very much. We'll kick off with a few questions. But before I do, just want to put it to you guys, like I said before, do you want me to do the questions and answers on a separate day, or would you like it to carry on involving in this episode, or Wednesdays? What would you guys like? So we're doing it for you guys, so it's really up to you. Comment below and let me know what your feelings are on that. So we'll start with the messages, and the first one is from Erin Kondo. I think I'm pronouncing that right. The question is, what do we get to get the white birds with the red faces? Now I'm guessing that he's talking about dimorphic canaries or red mosaics. I'm guessing on that. I mean, I have messaged back to say, is this what you are talking about? But you don't cross anything, obviously. Red dimorphics or red mosaics are as they are. They're a breed of their own kind. Type 1 and type 2, but obviously I'll answer more on that when I get the reply from you. The next question, it's from a few viewers actually, about the episode on Wednesday about the ring adapter and the rings I was using, the rubber rings. Now I totally forgot what they were called anyway, but I actually purchased these from a friend of mine, Richard Wilson. He's part of the Dagenham District Bird Club, so he'd probably be able to tell you more where he got them from. But the rings for wings, EZ rings, elastic ones, like I said, they come with the adapter and various different colours. Like on this particular one itself, it's got green, red, white, blue, orange, all the colours really. They're not very expensive for what actually they are, and they are so easy, like everyone said. It literally takes a second to put the ring on the bird. So Richard Wilson is your man to find out where they are from, and hopefully he can point you in the right direction. Like I said, look on Facebook for Dagenham CBS. I'm sure he can answer that for you. So thanks for everyone that has asked that. Question is from John O'Flanagan. Thanks, John. A few questions from you, so keep them coming, mate. This week's question was, what age are the canaries when moving them from the parents? Now, there's no real exact day or age that I remove them. You will see some chicks, when they leave the nest, within a couple of days they'll start picking up. That's not properly feeding. But in a nutshell, what I usually do is wait till the tail's long enough. I've explained this before. If the tail's almost fully developed, then surely they're going to be eating on their own. But the most important thing is to make sure that they are drinking as well as eating. But 24 to 28 days is around the period that I move them on. Some canaries do start feeding and drinking earlier than others, some are later. It's just part of the bird game. Every bird is different and individual, so yeah, I would say between 24 and 28 days. Just make sure they are confidently feeding on their own first. Victor is the next question. What do I do with my old pans? Do I throw them once I've finished with the breeding season? Yes and no, depends on what kind. The grass liners and the cocoa ones, throw them in the bin, burn them, do whatever you want with them. I never reuse them. For the price of them, they're not expensive, just throw them away. at least then next year you're not faced with any nasties in the nest that might have been there previously. Plastic nest pans, metal nest pans, obviously metal ones are easy enough anyway, just clean them down, but I do basically the same thing. Bucket of water, disinfectant, pull all the nest felts out and throw them in there, leave them for 2 days, wash them with warm water, store them away, clean dry place, ready for using next year. I mean, I've got a bag full over there from last year, because obviously I've changed quite a few around this year to what I was using previously. But yeah, that's basically it. The material ones, throw them, plastic, metal, reuse them. I hope that answers your question there, Sir Vic. The question is in two parts. Firstly, I'll address the first one first, it's from Eddie Parkin, by the way. Why don't I keep no Siberian goldfinches or British native goldfinches? There's a couple of reasons to this question. I'm not going to go into too much detail on one of them, but first and mainly is the majority of birds, or the bird rooms that's been broken into, are breeders of goldfinches, whether it be Siberian or native birds, and especially the Siberian birds, they're not exactly cheap to replace if someone was to come in and break in and steal them all. Secondly, they do like to die quite easy. They're very temperamental birds, and if all my kids are going to be seeing is birds dying here and there, then it's not going to encourage them into the hobby as much as what it would with a canary that will live 5 or 6 years, as in I've got one old cock bird here that is 6 years old. Crossbills, like I've said before, my crossbills are 2014, so they're not exactly young and they've just bred. Obviously they've got chicks in the nest now, and you can actually see her now, she's actually got nesting material in her mouth, so I'm gathering that she's rebuilding. So that answers it basically. Just because they like to die, and I just don't fancy coming out one morning and seeing them all stolen due to the fact of the song. It doesn't take a genius to work out a goldfinch song. Anyone walking past with the goldfinches singing and that wants to break in, yeah, it's just not for me. On the muley side though, I'm not saying I would never, because I do goldfinches, I love them, and they was one of my dad's favourite birds. Goldfinch mules, I've bred them before. I mean, I breed a lot of the birds for show purposes, especially the greenfinches and the other British birds and the fifes and stuff. But nowadays, you don't really see many outstanding goldfinches on the bench, so it's something maybe next year I have been toying with, is getting at least 3 or 4 goldfinch mule pairs and doing some outstanding ones as they used to be back in the day, 10-15 years ago, even way before that, the old no one, the clear one. So it is something that I will be doing. I mean, if I had goldfinch now, I'm no doubt that I'd be muling with it. But yeah, and that's the other thing as well. Getting a goldfinch that is 100% legitimately bred in captivity is few and far between. If you go to sales, you don't know, unless you do know the breeder, then I wouldn't give them the time of day. So I hope that answers that part for you. That's just my opinion, by the way. I mean, I have got friends who breed them successfully, no problems whatsoever with them dying, but like I said, just for my show purposes, is the birds I've got. Second part of the question is pearl mobile. Do I dislike it? Because obviously I don't use it. It's not that I dislike it or don't use it. I'm not saying I'd never use it, but for me, soak seed I've used, my dad used it, and it's something that is worked for me for all these years, so I just think, why should I change it? If it's not broken, don't fix it. And I feel confident in the way I do my soak seed, and the birds obviously devour it in no time. The amount I'm going through over these last 2 weeks is scary really, but when you've got birds feeding the young ones, I'd rather have them having too much than too less. But yeah, that's basically the reason why. It's just because I'm confident with what I use and I've used it for long enough. So that brings me to the end of the questions. So next bit is, as I said on Wednesday, I had a conversation with Robert Oldknow. He now lives in Australia, and we was on the phone for nearly an hour, just reminiscing, talking about birds and basically how things have moved on. He wanted to know how they've moved on since the video that his dad did. So it was a lovely conversation, and I learnt quite a lot, even though, you know, there's a lot of time passed since obviously he's been up this way and breeding birds like with his dad. But since then I have had a message from him, and there actually is a third video that was never released. Derek was doing this just before he passed away. So we're gonna see. I'm in talks with Robert to try and get a copy of it to share with you guys. And obviously Robert was more than happy that I've shared it with everyone. I mean, this is what it's about, sharing information. I'm not one of these guys who comes across something and, you know, it's working and tries to keep it himself because I'm scared of something else, or someone taking that on and winning with the birds that they're breeding and so on and so on. I'm not that type of person. If I find something brilliant, I will pass that on as well. One thing that he was quite interested in is the mutations, because back then his and his dad's place was a lot bigger than it actually shows in the videos he's been telling me, and quite fascinating to actually tell me how big it was and how many birds that they had. And one thing he did say, that we have like club meetings and things nowadays. Well, back then they used to have clubs that day out to various places, and one of the popular things was to go and visit Derek's place. You eat sandwiches and this and that, and I've walked round the old place. You could buy birds from him, like an open day for him. So but like Robert said, it was a full-time job for him and his dad, so it's not as though it was an hobby. It started as an hobby, but it turned into a job. But brilliant. I would have loved to have actually been able to do that, or even have someone round these days. I mean, Bernard Williams' place is massive, and one day I will get up to visit Bernard, but I don't think there's anything around now, especially in the UK, that was the same as what it was back then. As far as like I said, the mutations, he just wanted to know the progress on them. He was quite taken aback by the Siskin mutations that we have now. And I told him the mutations that I had, and obviously mutations that I've been about, and it's quite interesting for him to hear the certain mutations that's about. One other thing as well, the renowned Siskin bullfinch that everyone's been trying to breed, and I have said this before, I had full eggs from them 3 years ago, but also his dad did also back in the 80s, but obviously it weren't common knowledge back then. He was saying that his dad was up literally all night waiting for his chicks to hatch, and they never did. They was dead in shell, so it would have been a major achievement. But that just proves, obviously I've had full eggs, he did way back then. I think we should push more to try these rarer, if you would like, rarer hybrids or rarer mules that we haven't tried before, because the more people that do try them, they are going to succeed eventually. So something we could try, but more on the things from Robert in the future anyway, because there is so much I've got to get through, get my head around what he was explaining, and hopefully we can get some further developments on things for that in the future episodes. Right, so to this week in the shed. Ups and downs, what can I say? I have said, obviously, this pair of green finches here, they are on full eggs. This is the one, remember, I said that she had 7 eggs herself. These eggs are due to hatch. Actually, they are due to hatch today, but by the time this video is aired, I'm sure that they will have hatched. I've got various green finches in the flight on full eggs as well, so they'd be all due to hatch. Greenfinches in the tops due to hatch. Greenfinches are doing what they should do. Everything else on the other hand, gone a bit. The bullfinch I showed you last week, or didn't show you, the bullfinch with the greenfinch. So basically she was building up. Well, little to my knowledge, she actually already had eggs in there. And when I actually thought, well, I may as well check her because she's not been more active building the nest. So I checked her, and yeah, she had 4 bloody eggs in there. Typical, never went to sit them. So they're actually in the egg drawer now. They'd be stored in there for 4 or 5 days now. She has actually got pot eggs in there, or dummy eggs in the nest, so I'm hoping she does go and sit. Worst case scenario, I'll put them underneath a canary and see what happens with them. The chaffinch hybrid pair, that didn't go to plan. She's got 1 full egg out of 3. She only had 3 eggs. Sitting like a trooper, no problem. The egg is actually due to hatch over the next couple of days, so fingers crossed that does happen. But the problem is the cockbird been absolutely fantastic with the hen bird. He was 2014, so he's an old bird as well, but they've been together for a long time. Came in one morning and his legs were up in the air. He just died. No explanation why. Didn't go like nothing like that. I'm guessing it's just old age. And like I said, he was putting a lot of effort in when he was feeding her on the nest. So what have I done? Well, I've had a wire slide in there now with one of my current year bred greenfinch cocks. Put him in one side. She was still sat on the nest, not bothered by him at all. Today I've removed the slide, introduced him. He's not bothered her, she's not bothered him. Now this young cockbird is as docile as they come. He's a soppy bugger. I've seen him many a times. He will feed anything. Feeding other greenfinch cocks and canaries, and when they're all in the mixed flight. He's just one of the kind type of greenfinches. So I'm hoping he'll settle in there and do the trick. But the trick, what I'm going to do, something my dad told me a long time ago. She's only got 1 egg, remember, that's full. And I've said this numerous occasions, that it's unlikely that she's going to feed, or any bird will feed just 1. So what I'm going to do is borrow some canary eggs, because I've got 3 pairs of canaries that are due at the same time. I'm going to pop them in there as well, and give them more confidence in bringing them up. Not just that, it'll spur the greenfinch cock on to bond with the hen better that way. At least that's my opinion. It's how my dad used to do it, and I've done it before. But these little tips that I am giving you, they're not for everybody, but it's something that you might want to try because it does work, and it like I said, it aids bonding with them. If the cockbird sees her feeding in the nest, chances are he'll want to get inquisitive. But not all will do. Like I said, the greenfinch cocks in themselves are very aggressive. But knowing what this cockbird's like, I've got all confidence in how that's going to work. Norwich, I've got a couple of pairs of Norwich laid. I've got a pair in the bottom there. I've seen them tread. She's laid. Eggs are in the egg drawer. She's on the 2nd egg today, so we'll see. Looking around, I've got a greenfinch hen in the bottom cage, like I said before. She's on eggs. She had the first round, never sat. That's why I've distributed them through the canaries. She's laid again. She's on a 3rd egg today. The pair of greenfinches in here, like I said before, she went sick when we had the snow. But she's building up again, but not in the nest. Just building a free nest right in the front. Absolutely terrible. Why do they do this? And there's been a few sites I've seen on Facebook recently where no matter what nest you put in, some of the birds are just never going to be happy. But that's birds for you. Moving through the yellow hammers. Obviously on eggs, I think I did say on Wednesday. She sat tight now. She should be on 4 eggs or even 5 eggs. fingers crossed again that this year they are going to be bloody full, because all last year, clear eggs, not being mated, or, well, actually not successfully mated. I actually did see him mate last year a few times. We just see. The native bullfinches. No. Well, I've said before, she laid the egg when we had the snow, knocked her back, and nothing since. I did check the nest. She turfed the egg out, it was smashed. That's just part of breeding. But then again, I've got all confidence in her going back down for a second round, or technically a first round, but another load. Brambles, nothing as yet again. Chaffinches, doing my absolute head in. Build a nest, pull it apart, build it, pull it apart. So I'm probably going to be moving them cage. I think it has something to do with the location of the cage, which is directly behind the door. And every time I'm coming in and out to feed or check on the birds, I think I'm just disturbing them. It just is what it is, nature of the beast. To siskins. Now, the siskin eggs are due out in 3 days, so yes, hopefully some nice siskins in there to come. But never count your chickens, as I say, or count your chicks. We'll see. We'll see what perspires with them, as if she feeds until they're actually away from the parents, like these are. Don't count them. You just get your hopes up for nothing. Crossbills. I think the actual chicks are full-on crossbills, although the features on them are crossbills. Big, fat, heavy feet, big set beaks, but the feathering slightly off, but they've not left the nest yet. So, but 99% sure that they are crossbills anyway. So, not a downer on that. I'm happy either way. Like I said, if they are greeny crossbills, they are greeny crossbills. If they're crossbills, they're crossbills. The young ones are going to be stocked for next year for hybridising anyway. So, hopefully, we'll get a second round out of her and more on for next year then. But otherwise, that's your British caught up, the native woolies. I'm not even going to talk about them. No. Nah, they're just messing around. I'll put the cockbird back in with nothing. But with plenty of time. I'm not going to get worried either way with what's happening with them. They're in there, they're settled. Every one in the flights are all settled in. So there's no reason they're not going to go down when the time is right. I mean, the week, even out now, the weather, it's not mega hot. It's only like 13, 14 degrees, but stability in the weather what we need. Not cold at night, -1, -2, and then eating up throughout the day, because that's not doing birds any good. Stability in weather. All this week the weather has been stable, but then again last night we had frost again, so it's still not stable yet. When we get that stable weather, you will see a difference in the birds altogether, and things will start moving quite quick. But like I said, with the fives, started moving them around as well. This stock cage has got the first load in. The stock cage over there, I'll be getting the second load in, which is going to be cage 4 and cage 7. Cage 12 I've still got to move yet. Obviously cage 9 I've still got the chicks in. They, I would say, about 9-10 days old. So far as everything else, so work, I was asked to take a tree down. Just going off the subject slightly. So I turned up to the job to remove the tree. Well, it's more like a shrub, not a tree. Doing a little bit of landscaping around. I've seen M blackbird pottering around, picking worms up. Quite in a state really, no tail, bit battered. I thought, well, anyway, I knew that she'd have chicks locally to where we were. Anyway, turned out she's in the tree that we wanted to remove. So needless to say, that didn't get removed, to much dismay of the client. I just refused to do it. There were two chicks in there, as you'll see in a picture, and I would guess these being at 10 days old or so. What I'm going to do, I'm back up there on Saturday to carry out some more work. I'm going to take a bowl of mealworms with me, take the camera along and try and get some footage of her feeding the young ones without disturbing her. If I can't do it without disturbing her, I won't be doing it. But it is lovely to see the birds in a natural environment feeding and good about the normal daily routines without disturbing them. But we'll see. Hopefully I can. Like I said, I'll take some live food with me, and saves her from foraging around and stuff. They're going to be there, easier access to feed the chicks, but we'll see. Anyway, as we're talking about live food, fresh in today, got my buffaloes and my normal mealworms. So thanks very much to Peter Collins and Gary Penfold for picking them up for me. I mean, this is what we're all about, helping each other, and I really appreciate you guys for doing that for me. That obviously keeps me going for another month or so, hopefully. All depends obviously on how much I feed when they've got youngers and stuff like that. But that's the other thing, make sure if you are breeding soft bills or like your chaffinch, brambles, yellow hammers, you've got plenty of live food stocked up. Because as far as chaffinches go, yellow hammers and brambles, they are quite funny. If they've not got the live food there, we'll stop feeding the chicks. Guaranteed. So what we'll do now, we just have a quick look round. Like I said, the idea was to probably change to every 2 weeks. Maybe you'll get more of things happening in the shed rather than what you see last week. But I'll have a quick look round and show you some of the birds and let you enjoy them like I do. So this is the chaffinch and greenfinch pair that I was talking about earlier. Um, we'll have to see. He's chasing around now, so maybe that slider might have to go back in and let him develop that bond a little further. This is the greenfinch on eggs. She's got some full eggs underneath her, so we'll look forward to seeing her in the future. A nest of 3 young fives here, doing well. I'm just waiting for them to leave so I can actually clean this cage out. Here is just one of the Norwich South Green yellow hen, sat tightly there. This is one of the pairs of Norwich, the hen being on the right, the green buff and the yellow cockbird there. I'll be putting a nest pad in for them in a couple of days, see how they get on. This is cage number 2. You've probably seen these in the previous videos of obviously feeding the chicks. She's back on eggs, due to hatch shortly. I do like the shape of this cockbird. It's showing itself quite nice there. This is just a quick shot of the greenfinch hen that's got the eggs due out shortly. Here is just some of the current year fives that we moved. This is the end crossbill, just filling herself up before feeding the chicks. I think they're about ready to leave the nest now. Really getting into them dandelions, this boy. Right, just a quick one on soak seed just before we leave. Right, I've shown you many times how I do with soak seed and what I do. But what I've started to do, especially with the crossbills and the greenfinch chicks starting to come off soon, is just put a bit more fatty foods in for your greenfinches, which is here. You'll see in the picture it just consists of exactly the same mix with a soaked greenfinch mix and added groats in there. Such as your crossbills, if you'll probably see there's not as much goodness in the mix, the general soaking seed mix. So just by me just adding a couple of bits extra just for them birds works a treat. And same with the greenfinches. They're going to feed all that goodness back into the chicks, which result in bigger chicks being fed easier, the crops being fuller, then obviously spending more time filling themselves up with finer seeds. So I just thought I'd point that out to you guys. Otherwise, that's about it for today. Like I said, there's not really much happening. It's in between rounds. You do get this, and you do get your ups and downs. Always going to get that with birds anyway. But the best thing is just to stick with it and work through that, and then obviously the end result will be a lot better. So as I speak, that bullfinch is just trying. Oh, no, she's just carrying again. Probably trying to build another nest. Please comment below and let me know what your thoughts are on going every 2 weeks, or do you want it to stay weekly? What do you want to do on the midweek tips and stuff like that? One suggestion that we have got, in which we will be covering in a future episode, is the effect that Brexit's had on bird keeping, and how we're getting the stuff, and birds going out to obviously different countries and stuff, and getting birds in from other countries. I do know it has a direct effect on us getting stock in, so obviously there's a bigger picture. So we'll cover that in a future episode. But anyway, enjoy your Friday evening. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And check out Direct Bird Products for all your bird keeping needs. We have so much from seed, nesting products, drinkers throughout the year. Obviously we've got show cages becoming in stock shortly, and plenty of new stock coming in. So check that out on Facebook, Direct Bird Products, and if you haven't already, like, subscribe, leave a thumbs up if you have liked it, and hit the notification bell. At least then you'll know when we're uploading. But obviously you regular viewers all know when it is anyway, so I don't need to tell you all that. But anyway, enjoy the rest of your Friday evening, have a good weekend, do something nice, go and enjoy your birds, collect plenty of green food, get your live food stocked in ready, and be prepared. That's the main thing. Thanks everybody, enjoy your evening.